You're listening to the Belmar Bites podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Matt, here we are, episode 21. It's been a couple of weeks since we were together on the pod, but great to be back together. So
great to be back, Scott.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's where I am in the world. It's rainy, but last week I was in the beautiful city. I don't even know what it is, in Spain, Madrid and Barcelona. And oh man, if you've never been, which I know you've been, so we'll disregard that. It's beautiful there. Just everywhere you look, left and right, is just a sight to see. So, but that's the positive. How are you feeling, Scott? I know you're a little under the weather.
I'm doing good. I'm just at the tail end of a cold that I picked up on a trip from the East Coast to the West Coast last week. So, but all is well. I'm working and in front of a screen and a camera, and hopefully the audio is coming through okay with my new and improved nasal filter, audio filter that I've got going here today. But awesome. Well, hey, listen, we've got so many things going on in the organization right now. It's an interesting and exciting time to be a partner of Salesforce. And a number of weeks back, we were at Dreamforce, meeting with customers, meeting with Salesforce. We have soft launched and publicly launched our new and improved Hypercare. We are at events and talking to customers, and we've got just this growing number of organizations that are not only expressing interest in Hypercare, but they are signing contracts, and we are providing service to them through I guess a contract vehicle, a service delivery model that we've had around for a long time, but we've made some changes to it, improved it, and we've got some real interest and a growing list of customers that are using it. So today you and I have been talking about what we see as the benefits of Hypercare, why we think every customer should be using Hypercare. So you and I both understand what it is, but why don't you kick us off just with an overview? What is Hypercare, and what should an organization be thinking about as they think about this new offering?
Sure. Yeah. So Hypercare is our version of what we call a managed services or support arrangement, in which we are effectively that augmented Salesforce administrator, that augmentation to your team, taking on low-level tasks, mid-level tasks, or even high-level sounding board ideas as well. It's just it really sets up a team for success, especially to take care of their Salesforce investment or improve their Salesforce investment. Because the reality is, and we've heard this 1,000 times, Salesforce is a big investment, but if you don't take care of it, you run the risk of it turning into whatever you moved off of or whatever you had before. So it requires maintenance, it requires upkeep. And if you want to maximize adoption and ensure that it's being used well, it behooves you as an organization to really take care of it, enhance it, and keep it up to date. Because like you said, Salesforce is always coming out with new things. Those things are oftentimes very easy to implement. Other times they require a little bit of configuration. So that's our Hypercare as well. And I was actually, you had mentioned it's getting some uptick or some traction. So I was actually going to ask you a follow-up to that, in that it's a little different. It's a little different. It flips our delivery model a little bit on its head. But why do you think you're getting traction, or we're getting traction in conversations? What's if you were to attribute that to the now? Why now? Why is this of such interest to our clients, and why is it clicking?
Yeah, well, I think to maybe just expand a little bit on what you said and sort of weave that into a response to this question. So many organizations have made investments in Salesforce. They had a particular set of goals and objectives that they had set out to accomplish with that investment. And I am proud to say I believe, and I think many of our customers would, or most of our customers would agree, when we've been involved in helping them to implement Salesforce for the first time. So they're moving from another product to Salesforce. That they that their objectives were realistic and that we helped them achieve those. But then after they go live and after they're using the system, and the longer they use the system without help and intervention, the potentially the more adrift they
Mm.
can find themselves sort of off that goal. So either they're drifting and or their business is changing in such a way that they need to maintain Salesforce to adapt to their business, but they struggle to do that because they don't have the internal capacity to do it.
Mhm.
And so, I look at it very much like, we use often we'll use the analogy of building a house
Mhm.
as it pertains to, you know, uh, building Salesforce or implementing Salesforce for the first time. I look at this in a very similar way. So together we've built the house. You're now using Salesforce, but there is a certain amount of maintenance that is
Oh
required
yeah.
to a home to keep it in the in to keep it in the shape and to keep it at the look that you want. And at times that shape and that look can change in terms of, you want to do an addition, or you want to, I don't know, take out the real grass and put in the fake grass, or put some outdoor lighting, whatever the case may be. But there's just enhancements that you want to make. But then there's the day to day maintenance that needs to happen. So you've got to, I don't know, change water filters, or you got to change you got to empty the vacuum container that captures all the stuff that gets vacuumed up. There's things that if you don't maintain, then they're gonna start to break. So uh, Hypercare certainly is a great fit for that maintenance cycle that our customers find themselves in, knowingly or unknowingly. So
Cool. I wasn't aware that I had a water filter that I needed to change in my home. So,
I don't
uh,
know, in your fridge, or I don't know if
okay, okay,
I
fridge.
used to, I mean, I'll put it this way. I used to be on a well. This is going back a few years ago. And there was actually maintenance. Like I had
Oh yeah.
a ultraviolet light, and there was like a filtration system to, clean the water before it went into the house. So, and I found out the hard way. I didn't change my UV light, and it burnt out. And then they had to bleach the lines
Oh
inside the
wow.
house, and it's a whole deal. So, that's not. You don't have water lines in Salesforce, but you do have plumbing that connects Salesforce to
Yeah.
other parts of the business, and you got to keep those running.
Well, I appreciate the analogy. I know we often use the house building analogy, but the house maintenance, I mean, I'll add to that too, in that It's think of the little things, the little maintenance items that are around the home that if you don't take care of them, they amount to a large, big undertaking. And that's the whole goal of Hypercare is it's ongoing maintenance, keeping things sharp, keeping things fresh, so that it doesn't become a massive uplift. And that massive uplift, should you leave these things untended to, then you're starting to impact your investment as well. So I guess from that perspective, I would also add in things that I'm hearing in conversations, just the timing right now and why this is getting such uptick and traction in conversation is just the flexibility of it. And I think especially right now, when there is a bigger push to do more with less, be more efficient, be more resourceful, being able to leverage something in be it a subscription basis or kind of a scale up, scale down basis versus kind of formalizing and bringing in potentially hiring, it just bolsters your organization in that you can slide up and scale up, scale down with that flexibility, with on-demand expertise versus taking that risk on as an organization. So I would attribute that to some of the reason why we're having more conversation, and that it's very flexible. And I think flexibility is what is needed and certainly desirable, at least right now. So,
Yeah.
but I guess maybe we can evolve this conversation a bit. Question I often get here, and we'll take turns doing this, but question I often get is, well, how does this benefit? What are the pros and cons of this? I thought it'd be helpful if we kind of approach it from a couple different lenses. if I am the CEO or COO of an organization, why would I want Hypercare? Because their business case in their mind might be a little bit different than if I am a administrator or an end user. Why might I want Hypercare? So I figured maybe you can start with the CEO or the executive lens. Why would, given we've already established the definition of Hypercare, what's in it for a CEO or COO that is contemplating Hypercare? Why would they? What are the pros of adopting and utilizing a model like our Hypercare offering?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the conversations that I'm having with the executive leaders in organizations, they're asking that very question, and the conversation or response that I'm giving to that question is um, Hypercare has many benefits, to the organization. But if you're in that leadership role, you want to know that you're being as efficient with your dollars as possible. So the first one would be we can deliver uh, a level of service to your organization and to your Salesforce investment at a price point that will likely be lower than what you would spend on a full-time employee. So, the way I tend to look at it is, I look at our full-time employees, in a particular job function that they have. Do they spend 100% of their hours on a week-by-week basis just focused on that? The answer simply is no. They're focused on company meetings. They're focused on, uh, just a variety of things. Improvement. Talking to each other. We have in our calendar, we see all the time these coffee chats. People are having conversation, and this is all very important in a corporate culture. But when it comes to uh, if we're looking at this from a cost perspective and just an efficiency perspective, outsourcing the care of Salesforce to an organization like ours is absolutely going to be more cost effective. Uh, Also, if you do have full-time employees, eventually those full-time employees, they will leave the organization, and replacing employees, finding replacements is very challenging. There's a lot of people out there who claim they have Salesforce expertise, but finding the right one, and if this is not your core competency, if you're not uh, if you're not a Salesforce expert yourself, it is difficult to measure and evaluate if you're getting the right person. So we can just take that risk completely off the table for you, and we provide not just a single resource, we provide a team of resources uh, who are very capable, who are cross-functional. Like they have different responsibilities, different understandings of Salesforce, and we approach it as a team versus as an individual. So that creates some insulation and de-risks the investment that you're making, because that knowledge is then carried across multiple people versus a single resource that you might have as an internal FTE, or even as an external single resource that may win the lottery, or may get be on the tips of their skis in terms of their knowledge
Hmm.
for Salesforce. So, those are a couple of ideas, Matt.
Yeah, cool. Well, appreciate you
Yeah,
sharing that. Why don't I give the perspective of, I mean, the one that I get often is CIO, CTO, a IT director. What's in it
sure.
for me as the person responsible for my technological infrastructure um, for this organization? So I guess the really big kind of pro here, I would say, is just staying on top of the technology. The reality is when you've brought this role in-house, this administrator, um, you're going to be able to leverage their experience, but there's a limit, there's a cap on that experience, in that the benefit of using our team or a hypercare model such as ours is that the experience and exposure across like or similar organizations, you're able to distill that knowledge down into that single person's experience. So they just get more reps doing this. They get more reps seeing more things to ultimately stay at the cutting edge of the technology. And Salesforce is absolutely a cutting edge premium product. And unless you have somebody that has the experience and exposure to that on a regular basis, but also the pace to keep up with it, you will always be that may be your weak link. as well. Not to discredit, but we just have the benefit of seeing a lot of projects, seeing how best practices play out at thousands of other organizations. So that would be one. Staying on top, then being sharp. There is an investment. When you have this role in-house, there's an investment. You're sending this individual to go to conferences, to go to learning sessions, workshops, and whatnot. There's an investment there. And you're able to do this at scale when you're leveraging an organization like ours. So that'd be number one. Number two, compliance, and staying on top of security as well. This is a big one, especially from the function of a CIO, CTO, IT director. They want to ensure that there is regular maintenance and regular upkeep to the system. This can be a full-time job in itself, but being able to push this off to an organization like us and being able to support in that manner, certainly the IT directors I talk to, allows them to sleep much better at night. You have somebody who their core responsibility is to make sure we're cleaning up users. We're ensuring that packages are reviewed and tested. When new releases happen, that testing is occurring as well, in which if that is your sole focus for us as an organization, you're able to just alleviate any type of concern from that front. You're able to ensure that security standards are upheld as well, while mapping in, this is what this other organization is doing. This is what this other organization is doing. This is how it all gets married together. In addition to this, just the certification. So all of the standards, all of the security standards are being upkept as well. So those would be two kind of big ones, the peace of mind from a compliance and security standpoint, and also just the actually staying on top of the product and being sharp as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think those are two good ones. The first one in terms of security, I'm talking to an org right now about that, and they have actually an internal team. So they're a larger organization. They have an internal IT team, and part of that team has some responsibility for Salesforce. But we're chatting about that now in terms of sort of what we can bring to the table in terms of security. And I think that just goes with, use the word reps. It's just the more reps, more at bats that you have in a particular domain, and there are many within Salesforce. The more experienced you are, the more you know what to look for, and the more you can help these organizations avoid pitfalls that they inevitably find themselves in. So I think those are good ones. I guess if we think about this, we've talked about this more at the leadership level. What do we see the benefits being for the leaders in these orgs? I guess as we think about end users, people that are, they're using the product day to day as part of their job function. A couple things come to mind, and I'd love to get your perspective on this. But if I'm a user of a system, if I'm mandated to use a system, and that system is for whatever reason not performing at its best, and it's slowing me down, it's hindering me. That creates a rub. It creates some conflict. It may be as simple as the user doesn't know how to use the system properly, and Hypercare would be a great vehicle to provide that user as well as others in the organization with ongoing training, keeping them up to date in terms of the use of the solution. But other simple things, just like it's just inefficient. How Salesforce was set up 5 years ago, maybe isn't the most efficient way that it would be set up today. And so continuing to kind of groom things that are not working well and improve those creates a better employee experience, creates happier employees, and it also just enables them to get more done in the same amount of time. So I think that's one that we're seeing. And how about you? What are you seeing, I guess, from that end user perspective?
Yeah, there's just a general sense of comfort. You have somebody who is versed in your use case, but also can help you understand where to start. I think what I see on a regular basis is whenever there's that internal team, they just get so bogged down by the daily asks. And when adoption is high, you're going to get daily asks, and that's great. But you don't want to spend your entire time, I kind of break it down in offense and defense. You don't want to spend your entire time playing defense. Otherwise, you never get an opportunity to improve, enhance, So it's almost a segregation of responsibility as well. And how do we keep this sharp? And that encourages adoption. When I see that and I don't, perhaps you've seen this as well, when you're using an app that you use on a regular basis, you start to see new features come up. You start to see, oh, hey, that thing that I did before is actually better now. When you have that peace of mind that somebody is taking care of this, somebody's improving this, oh, it just makes you even more motivated to want to use the system, use that app, use that whatever. So I kind of think of it that way, in that it gives you comfort as an end user, but also just that peace of mind as well. But that offense defense piece as well, you understand, okay, I can go to this person, I can go to my internal person for this, I can go to Hypercare, the individuals that are aligned with us for Hypercare for this as well. Just again, gives you that confidence. And you've heard the saying, actually, I don't know if it's a saying, I'll make it up. But if you're only playing defense and you never play offense, I'm not certain you can actually win the game. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
probably not.
probably
That's a
not, right?
good thought experiment. Yeah, you can only I mean you can only be so defensive. You've got to keep moving things forward. And I
Yeah.
actually I love that app analogy that you've used because yeah, I mean think of any app that you use in your life. Why shouldn't your business applications continue to improve
Hmm.
and just and be fresh? Like we're not suggesting that you go and revamp screens and like change the layout so it creates confusion for people. But I think there's this. I mean, this, and you would know this as well as any, Matt, in terms of this idea of a release schedule. Salesforce
Mm.
have done this since their inception, 3 major releases a year. We advocate for customers to do the same thing, and that they're constantly refreshing the system by introducing new capabilities,
Hmm.
smoothing out rough edges, making things more efficient for employees, and communicating that very clearly to them as to what that release schedule is, and because it does foster then that engagement from the employees who are their hands on keyboard, they're the ones on the
Hmm.
calls having to use Salesforce to engage with their contacts, their customers, their
Yeah.
constituents, and so they're the ones that really feel that rub, and so if there's a way to capture their feedback, communicate back to them, hey, this is in a schedule, and then that schedule is followed and maintained. Boy, it really does create just more interest and more excitement in terms of the tools that person has to use every day.
Yeah, I mean, flip the coin around. Imagine if you don't do those things. If you tell your, let's say you're being mandated or enforced to use this system, Salesforce, and you have all this feedback, but it never gets actioned on. What are you going to do? You're going to stop giving feedback. And you're going to stop using it, and you're going to come up with some other way to do whatever it is that you have an issue with. So it's not only, like I said, the defense element of making sure people can use. It's, oh, hey, keep them interested, keep them engaged as well, keep them continuing to give feedback as well. Because the amount of times that I've seen a bug or something with my iPhone, as an example, and looked at it and thought, nobody's taking care of that. Why is this still an issue 6 years later? That's frustrating. Well, might as well just not report that anymore. And that's the opposite of what you want to do. Now, granted, I'm giving Apple a hard time here. They've got a lot of other features, a lot of different voices, but same kind of concept. If you
Yeah,
don't listen,
yeah,
if you don't action, if you don't show that it's going to be on a roadmap or a release schedule, I mean, then you start to saw off that feedback loop, and then you end up in the same spot perhaps you were before.
yeah,
So further
yeah.
further reasons for Hypercare.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's very true. Like once you lose users, once you lose
Yeah,
employees, boy, getting their trust back, it's tough. So yeah, Hypercare is a real defensive strategy against
yeah,
morale loss, employee loss, and
totally.
it's an offensive strategy to keep you competitive and really just keep the organization running at tip-top shape and
Yeah.
ensuring that you're very competitive in your market. So, uh, okay, well, listen, I mean, we could go on and on and carve out examples, right across an organization in terms of where Hypercare is a fit. But I think to sum things up, and maybe in a future episode we can dive in more detail on one or more of these topics. But we talked about at an executive level, there is a a financial benefit to
Yeah.
using an outsourced managed service. In our case, we call it Hypercare. There is a continuity, retention, in terms of retention of domain knowledge. So when an employee leaves, you lose knowledge as much as you document it. You lose information, you lose knowledge. With Hypercare model, that is maintained over the long time. So there's continuity. There's also just this built-in insulation in terms of multiple people have knowledge of your environment,
Yeah.
and that reduces your risk. So we talked about from the CEO level. We talked from the CIO or
Mhm.
CTO level, and so just being able to sleep at night knowing that your
Yeah.
systems are optimized, running well, that they're secure. You did touch briefly on licensing, but just really optimizing and making sure that that investment that you are making is sized to what your current need is. And then we talked about end users and just the ability to respond to their needs, to their feedback, providing just a better experience for them, which then provides a better experience for your customers. So these are, to me, some very, very compelling reasons to think about Hypercare. And Matt and I would love to have a conversation with anybody that's listening to this about what a Belmar Hypercare plan would look like. And so go to the website, belmarcloud.com, and click a link to get some time with us. And we would love to chat more and explain and share with you the experience that other customers are having and how we think you can benefit from the same. So, Matt, why don't you close us off? Anything I missed in that summary?
No, I think you did I was fact checking you as you were sharing it. You did a pretty darn good job of summarizing that. It almost felt like an AI summary, which they're super effective now. So no, I think you covered all of the points. I'm actually very impressed. So no further additions here, Scott. That's a good way to wrap, and we will catch you on the next episode here, Scott.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, thanks.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bites, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.